Welcome to the Global Learning XPRIZE Awards. Please take your seats at this time. The show is about to begin. Welcome to the Global Learning XPRIZE Awards. Please take your seats at this time. The show is about to begin.
I'll be home after 9 o'clock. 9 p.m. 9
The XPRIZE Foundation runs incredible large-scale competitions around the world that set very clear, measurable, objective goals. The first person to build, demonstrate this capability wins the prize money. And the world gets the benefits.
Competitions and prizes can actually bring innovation to solve not just any problem, but really big, challenging problems.
I think we're about setting a high bar, and you want to set a goal for people that's inspiring, but it's also hard.
When we're designing an XPRIZE, we're looking for something that is audacious and achievable.
Goals that are far beyond where the industry is.
Problems that the markets have failed to solve.
To help people really now dig into their imagination, creativity is everywhere.
We are leveraging the genius of folks from all over the world.
The tinkers, the entrepreneurs, the engineers.
People who are not satisfied with the way things are and know that it can be better.
It's all around hopefulness. It's all about collaboration.
The long tail effect of a prize has probably as much value as the prize itself.
At every single level. I've seen things go from a paper plane to an actual spaceship.
We've seen a private spaceflight revolution.
$300 million invested into the lunar economy. Over 10 million kids integrated in STEM education work.
Technology that increased the rate of cleaning up oil spills.
Technology to help keep people safe.
To make sure everyone is healthy.
Feeding people, educating people, cleaning the air, exploring the oceans or space. We're changing what people believe is possible.
We want to have an ideal future, and it's up to us to build that.
We don't care who you are or where you come from. If you're able to accomplish this task, you win, and that's it.
Please welcome to the stage XPRIZE founder and executive chairman, Dr. Peter H. Diamandis.
Welcome everybody. It's a pleasure to get the family together. It's rare that we have a chance to launch and to award XPRIZE. Today is a very special day. First off, thank you to Google for hosting us here at this amazing place. Google's played such a critical role in the XPRIZE since its inception, and especially since the Ansari XPRIZE was won. So having it here, I remember when we decided to launch this competition on an Android platform, I was at an event with Larry Page and said, could we get a donation of Android tablets? And he introduced me to Sundar, who committed 8,000 tablets to this competition. So we're super grateful. I want to say a thank you to all those of you who are in the live stream out there, all of you XPRIZE family members and friends, Abundance Digital members and friends. It's a pleasure to have you here, and super excited to have you spread the word of what's possible. So you heard from the video what the XPRIZE is about. Our mission is to find problems that are not moving fast enough and challenge the world to solve the problem. And we're in a world where every individual has access to more capital, more knowledge, more computational power, more capability, more crowdsourcing than ever before. And I think as humans, we're evolved to shoot for targets. We compete. We do our best work when we compete. And it is nothing less than we compete to solve global grand challenges. Our mission ultimately isn't about the technology. That's great. But it's really the impact at scale, how many lives we can change. So when we for us, it's really about when the prize gets won, like today, how do we take it and really drive it into impact around the world? I want to talk about a little bit of our process of how we got to this moment in time. Every year, we have an event that we hold around the anniversary of the XPRIZE being won. It turns out this is the 25th year since the XPRIZE was founded in 1994. Really hard to believe. Amazing. And it's the 15th year since the Ansari XPRIZE was won, and I'll introduce you to the Ansari of Ansari XPRIZE in a moment. And we hold an event every October. It's called Visioneering. And Visioneering is an event that our innovation board members who are here, our Vision Circle members, our board directors really pull together. We pull together about 500 individuals, philanthropists, CEOs, heads of state, entrepreneurs, and we ask them during this 3-day event, what problem isn't being solved that we should launch a prize for? Our anniversary event is coming up October 4th, 5th, and 6th. We're hosting it at Paramount Studios this year. Jim Giannopoulos, one of our trustees, is hosting it. We have cards that are being passed around. If it's something you're interested in participating in, please, it's by invite only. You'll be able to send an email and request an invitation. So it was at this event back in 2012 that a dear friend, Eric Hirschberg, Eric, please stand and be acknowledged here. We have this at Visioneering, people get together in groups and they compete their ideas about what is a prize that should be won. And Eric led the team that came up with a concept back then called Eduphone that led to the development of this prize. And that won Visioneering back in 2012. I then ran into Nicholas Negroponte, who is the creator of One Laptop Per Child. And we're talking about this, and Nicholas said, that's a great idea. Let's create an XPRIZE around that. He really came in, got involved in that. We designed an XPRIZE, and then I sent out an email. I sent out every quarter to our trustees, our benefactors, innovation board members, vision circle members, and I said, we've got this great education prize. We're looking for a funder. And I got an email back that afternoon from Elon, who said, I'll do it. It was probably the easiest prize we ever got funded in the world. Seriously. And I was like, really? And I met with him the next day. We launched the prize in 2014, September. And our mission is really, this is the first prize ever to impact children. Our goal is 250 million more people being able to be literate in this day and age. And it's really bridging the worlds that we have. In this world where Google is available, we're about to deploy 5G and Starlink satellites literally in an hour. We had a launch of a Falcon 9 with 60 Starlink satellites going up into orbit. We're a world of connectivity, but we need the ability to have some level of literacy. So this XPRIZE is also the first time that the winning software is being open sourced around the world, which is huge, really huge. I want to take a second to thank our benefactors who made this possible, because at the end of the day, it really is two things: a great idea and the capital that allows us to launch a competition. So we'll introduce Elon more appropriately a little bit later. But in addition to Elon, I want to just say that it was the Dick and Betsy DeVos Family Foundation that underwrote the majority of the operations. And Jason Zylstra, who's here, who heads the foundation. Jason, thank you so much. Grateful. It was in addition to Jason, thank you to the DeVos Family Foundation. A dear friend, Tony Robbins, another dear friend, Scott Hassan, and John Raymonds, Dr. Dick Merkin, Suzanne West, who underwrote this, and then Google, of course, providing these tablets really enabled us to do this. We have a number of other additional donors, and we had to do something unlike anything before, and Dr. Emily Church will talk about what we had to do, but it was a level of complexity in this prize that was huge to do this morally, ethically, at scale, and prove something. So in addition to these amazing donors, Jack Bader, James and Randy Eberlin, Mark Bidwell, Rod Roddenberry, Rajiv Agarwal, and Rajiv, I just want to say thank you in particular. You've since donating that, you've committed another $1 million to translate this into Hindi and English, and you're releasing it tomorrow, which is amazing. And then Karina and George Bennett. So it truly is something that we're proud of beyond belief. We announced this at CGI with President Clinton and at the UN General Assembly with the Prime Minister Gordon Brown. And the results were extraordinary. We had 700 entries into this competition. 700 teams came and went through the pre-registration process. Of those, 198 delivered software. Amazing, right? From 40 countries. And here's the punchline of the leverage that we want to deliver. The $15 million prize drove $300 million of expenditures around the world. Let that sink in, right? It's 20x the purse money by 198 teams, to solve the problem. And we didn't pay any of the attempts. We paying tonight, the winning team, a 20x return. So I just want to say thank you to all of our donors. An honor and a pleasure, John, and all. I just want to thank also our board members who are here. Can I actually have our Board of Trustees, Innovation Board, Vision Circle members, Board of Directors, please stand 1 second and be acknowledged? Would you please, John? Thank you. So proud. You know, none of this would exist right now if a particular family did not step forward. It was back in 2000, after 5 years of me begging to try and fund this thing called the XPRIZE for spaceflight, that I met Anusha and Amir and Hamid Ansari. Anusha and Amir, who have a passion for space, stepped up to fund the $10 million Ansari XPRIZE. Anusha went on then to fly to the space station, an 11-day trip into space, and a year ago joined us as our CEO at the XPRIZE. Please welcome Anusha Ansari.
I have to tell you, I wouldn't be here, and none of this would happen if it wasn't for you, your internal optimism and passion that drives us all and gives us energy every day. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, and one of my first trips after joining as the new CEO was to go on a trip to Tanzania and actually travel to some of these 170 villages where our field test was running. And it was an incredible experience to see this firsthand, and reinforced my belief and the reason I joined as CEO and had decided to be part of this full time now. This is amazing because to me, it reinforced the fact that all of my life I believed the gift of education was one of the most important gifts I have received in my life. I was born in Iran, raised in Iran. Education is important in Iranian families, but particularly I felt like this education opened this new world to me. I loved reading books. I loved science fiction books, Jules Verne's, and reading the Golden Book series about Florence Nightingale, Madame Curie. It opened my mind. It allowed me to be inspired and dream big. And I think this is the gift that kids get when they have access to education. I came here and I was able to continue my education. And even though when I arrived I didn't speak English, the language of mathematics allowed me to excel in school and be able to graduate, go to college, become an engineer, an entrepreneur, and become successful, which eventually allowed me to go to space and make my dream come true. So this is what education did for me, and this is what education can do for all the children who are out there. Unfortunately, not everyone has the fortune that I had to have this kind of access. 1 out of 5 children don't even get to go to school. So this is what we're trying to change here. When we were in those remote villages, I understood what remote meant. I mean, these villages, the kids in these villages don't have access to schools. They're like maybe 15 kilometers away. These villages didn't have running water, no electricity, and really very poor living condition. So what we brought to these villages to make this test possible was enormous. We had to enlist the help of many, many partners to be able to do that. We had to install solar panels. We had to have a lot of people on the ground helping us. So our partners, World Food Program, especially someone at World Food Program who runs this program in Tanzania, Michael Brandi, who had been an amazing support for us on the ground, and the team who had people on motorcycles driving through mud and rain to make sure everything was running smoothly. The village mamas who stepped up became solar engineers for us, running the solar stations in these villages, making sure all the tablets were running properly and smoothly. And UNESCO, RTI International, and students at Dar University running a lot of these surveys and field tests for us. And the students themselves, who started as students, at the end they became teachers who were teaching their parents, their siblings, the other kids who weren't part of the program, and they really inspired us all. So this has been an amazing journey for all of us, and we're so excited to be here and to celebrate this success with all of you here. So with that, I want to thank all of our partners for everything they've done for us. And I want you to help me welcome some of our partners who are here represented and those who are not here with a round of applause. And last but not least, I want to have a special thank you for someone who has been behind this program from day one, driving it. She has given her heart, her passion, her energy, and her full attention to this prize from day one. And we're so fortunate to have this superwoman as part of our team at XPRIZE Foundation, Dr. Emily Church.
Thank you so much, Anusha. Peter, I'm already going to start crying. We haven't even started. A little over 5 years ago, in the spring of 2014, I went out to dinner with Matt Keller and Joel Carnes, and they were talking to me about this crazy project about using technology to help children learn how to read, write, and do basic math. It was going to be, at that time, in some as of yet undetermined African country, or maybe India. They didn't know when exactly it was going to launch or how it was going to work, but they said, why don't you come join us? At the time, I was a college professor with a 1-year-old child. I had been researching and teaching about human rights, particularly with a focus on Africa, for about a dozen years. Matt said to me, so why don't you just use that and put it into practice? Help us do this. I want to tell you a few things. It's not going to be a 9-to-5 job. It's going to infuse almost every element of your life. Also, you should know there's an 80 to 90% chance that it will fail completely. And for some reason, I was like, that's a great life choice. Let's just leave academia and try this. So that happened 5 years ago. More than 5 years later, I am so grateful that I took that leap. My children are now 6 and 3 years old. They have grown up with this project. I truly cannot believe that I am here tonight. And I'm so proud to be able to share with you all the results of this competition and of the incredible work that these teams have done and hundreds of people around the world to be able to make this happen. I want to make sure to say, although you see me standing here, that I'm just a representative of these hundreds of people who made this happen. I first and foremost want to acknowledge the Global Learning XPRIZE staff who are here present today, and those of you who are not with us, who are watching on live stream, please stand and be acknowledged. We also have advisory boards and judges who have flown in from 3 continents to join us. Can our judges and advisory board please stand as well? Thank you so much. So we launched this prize to address the grand challenge of the 250 million, at minimum, children around the world who can't read, write, or do basic math. As Anusha said, this is 20% of the world's children who are not in school. You know, and I've been talking about this competition. There's times people say, well, how come the children aren't in school? It's hard for people to understand this circumstance and why it is so critical to design specifically for these children. There's also a terrible shortage of teachers at the primary and secondary level. The UN tells us it's going to take 68.8 million teachers, additional teachers from what we have right now, in order to meet these educational demands within the next 10 years. We cannot build schools fast enough, train teachers fast enough, but what we're going to show you tonight is what we can do. We see this not as a global crisis only, but as an opportunity, really, that we can transform this into something for the whole world to build upon. A lot of people thought this could never happen. I had a great moment with the judges at the end of our judging summit, where one of our judges said, I've been doing this for 40 years, all across Asia and Africa. You know I told you for years this is never going to work. Even going to this judging summit, he said, I thought maybe one team would be able to make it. And he said, I am shocked to be able to say that all 5 teams did it. All 5 teams. He said, I was a skeptic, and now I'm a believer. So to all of you teams here, we are here to celebrate you tonight. You are making believers out of skeptics, giving hope to all of us who are here. Everybody who's watching, we see you. We know you're from around the world, particularly our friends in Tanzania. Hello, thank you. So there were no shortage of skeptics when we started. But people said this would never work. One of the things that XPRIZE does best is to insist on the question, but what if it does work? What if one of these children is the next Elon Musk? Or someone who can make a cure for cancer? What if one of these children is the next great recording artist? What if one of them creates something that could eventually save your life? We believe that it is possible and necessary for all children everywhere, to have access to the basic human right to reading, writing, and math. When children have this central building block, they can build whatever world they can imagine. It opens a world of abundance for all of them and all of us. So the heroes of this story, again, our teams, are sitting right here with us tonight. They have sacrificed more than you can possibly imagine, personally, professionally, financially. We see you. We are so grateful to go into a competition knowing that it was going to be open source. This is something that is going to be freely available to the world tomorrow morning. All of the code, all of the years of work that they have put into this is freely available for anyone to use and build upon. I just want to take a moment for these teams. They were among the very first true believers that we can and must do something more for the children of the world. So let's take a look at some of the results. People have told me I have to hold it back a little bit with the data because you know I can get into this. All right. So, you know, we had almost well over 300 people on the ground in Tanzania helping us to make this happen, who tested over 2,700 children across 170 villages. Children were able to learn the equivalent of 1 year of full-time school using the tablets an average of an hour a day. And let's look into our literacy gains. So with literacy, at baseline, children had less than 10% could read a single word in Swahili. After the field test, 45% of children could do this, and 30% were reading full sentences. Any of you who are caregivers, think about what this process actually means when a child is figuring out what a letter is, what sound goes with that letter, putting the letters together to make sounds, assigning meaning to words, and then to string that together as a sentence. I just want to hit home what it really means to be able to have this sort of a game. All right, for our writing gains. So similarly, we see here, in writing, only 23% of the children were able to correctly answer addition and subtraction questions. At the end of the field trial, that number jumped to 66% of children. And with writing, 26% of the children, they were given a pencil and paper, and only 26 could copy what they saw with a specific word. And at the end of the field trial, nearly 70% of the children were able to write. And remember, they were using tablets, so that's also going from writing this way to using a pencil at the end line. These cognitive gains are pretty amazing. They are important and critical as building blocks for learning. So while the judges were looking at these learning gains, we had a concurrent study of the social and emotional well-being of these children. We, of course, want children to have these skills. They need to have these skills, but how they feel on the inside is what really can be transformative. So we asked children and the adults in their community questions about their aspirations for the future, what they envisioned for their life. We tested confidence. We have all of this data is going to be available for you. There are so many things that we want, still studies that need to be done based on all of this data, which is why we want to release it. Everything here, like our code, we want people to be able to build and understand more how this child can learn and transform her vision of who and how she can be in the world. I also want to mention there were, importantly, equal gains for girls and boys. Those of you in the global development, right? Girls' education is a critical issue in global development. There's so much more to say there. I'm going to go down a rabbit hole if I start with that one. Okay. So we'll be sharing much more of this in the coming weeks. We hope you will be joining us on our communities when we ask you to sign the pledge. There's so much more to come. So remember that tomorrow, when I said everything was going to be released free, to remember that this is in both English and Swahili, all 5 of our teams, full content in English and Swahili. All right, we are now going to watch a video of the Global Learning XPRIZE. I want you to know that this footage was taken by True Vision, which is a Tanzanian film crew who captured this incredible footage.
256 million children who are out of school in very underprivileged communities.
That's an estimated 250 million children around the world who don't have access to basic literacy and numeracy.
I've been to the field. Those villages are very, very remote. Schools are very, very far. So some of the children, they've never got an opportunity to go to school.
I call them the unreached.
We launched the Global Learning XPRIZE to inspire innovators all over the world to create open source learning software so that children have access to learning wherever they are.
If really we can establish that the software is successful in teaching children without access to school, the experiment could lead to a breakthrough in covering many, many, many children everywhere.
The Global Learning XPRIZE has a $15 million prize purse sponsored by Elon Musk. The grand prize winner will be determined by which software application has the largest learning gains in reading, writing, and math within a 15-month period. This is the first XPRIZE that is open source. The idea here is to provide the tools, the data, the resources for anyone in any cultural context to build upon that and make it their own. We're saying here are the tools for you to build what you think is best for your community.
There is no blueprint for what we have done. We had about 2,700 total children in our field test, and those children were spread across 150 treatment villages and about 20 control villages.
We went to Tanzania, identified kids that didn't know how to read, write, or any types of math. We had to go install solar panels so we can charge the tablets. Then when we identified the 5 finalists, then we put those solutions on these tablets, gave it to each child, and then determined how they did.
It was really important for us to work with a series of partners to make this happen.
The first partner that comes to mind is Google.
Google donated 8,000 Pixel C tablets for this project. The World Food Program and UNESCO were there to help with all of the elements of our field test.
We've been able to deploy infrastructure into some of the most remote parts of Tanzania
Anything related to the hardware and software and the logistics was handled by WFP. The last partner in country is UNESCO.
UNESCO really allowed us to have the entryway into Tanzania to make those connections and be a trusted partner in that way. We have about 300 people working on the ground in Tanzania.
We had people going around on motorcycles who would troubleshoot any issues with tablets or solar stations, but also collecting the data. You had village mamas who helped set up a safe environment for the children to kind of learn. District officials, regional officials, WFP staff. So you take UNESCO, you take the government of Tanzania, you take WFP, you take XPRIZE all the way over here, and you have an interesting cast of characters that somehow pulled off this project successfully.
We could not have done this without the support of our benefactors, our sponsors, who put their money and attention into making sure this would happen.
They didn't want any recognition, they didn't want to be publicized greatly. They felt like this is something they wanted to do for the altruistic value. So we can't thank them enough.
The question we set out to answer, can children learn on their own using adaptive software? Can they be taught reading, writing, and basic math? The answer is yes.
This prize has opened the eyes of many children who otherwise would have not known what it is like to get even simple education.
They are feeling excited, they are feeling awesome, they feel like they are winners because they participate in the project.
These kids, from where they were no hope of becoming someone. But now I think we can have nurses, we can have lawyers.
Tangu tablet alikuwa mimi sijui kusoma. Alipokuja mimi nimeshakuja kujua kusoma. Ndio vizuri kwa umefanya tablet ilikuwa sijui kusoma nikajifunza.
Now the kids are able to read, now kids are able to write. Even some now they've been motivated themselves now to go back to school. Children will not be the same again.
No matter who wins this competition, we have shown that children can learn using this technology, that children who otherwise wouldn't have access to learning, that they have the opportunity to unleash their potential. We have the technology, we have the tools to do it. Now we just need to do it.
Najisikia vizuri, maana mpaka sasa hivi najua kusoma. Nashukuru sana kwa msaada wenu uliotugaia sisi watoto wa Tanzania.
I just have to come back on stage when I'm crying. All right. So we were one giant step closer to fulfilling our mission of enabling equal access to learning to children everywhere. We've said from day one of this competition that our focus has to be about scaling this work. So we have the software that is freely available, we have the data that's there, but we still need to get this into the hands of children. And we have a plan for this, and we hope you will join us. We have our impact initiatives. So 4 key impact initiatives. First, the data. We've talked about that. I'm happy to talk data lots more with people. Second, localization. This is really key. We want to see this localized in 30 languages within the first 2 years to make sure that this is reaching children in their languages. Delivery. We need to make sure this reaches children. So once we have the data to show it works, which we have, we localize it into languages, we'll find the hardware that can source the software, and then we deliver it into the hands of children. So tonight, the Global Learning XPRIZE will come to a completion upon the announcement of our grand prize winner. Tomorrow, we should take the day off. But we're not going to. We are getting to work on day one, and we hope you will join us. You have heard and probably seen already out in the lobby, those of you watching on the live stream will see it on the stream there, that we are asking you to sign the pledge, to put your name to join us so that you can keep up with what is happening. Please see the website that is here. Support our teams, learn what is happening, join us with your resources. I'm so excited for the months and years to come to see how we are able to scale this impact. But it is going to take everyone. And you may be sitting here thinking, okay, but maybe not actually me, but yes, I actually mean you, and you, and you. anyone has the opportunity to help empower these children. We need your voices, your resources, your ideas. There is something for you to do to help us in this movement, so please sign up and join us. I'm asking you to take a leap, as I did, into this great unknown with us. I would like to take this moment to welcome to the stage a very special guest who has joined us tonight. A personal hero of mine, who's also a philanthropist, education activist. You probably know him from Reading Rainbow, which I watched religiously as a kid, Star Trek. He is an incredible advocate for children everywhere. LeVar Burton, please welcome him to the stage.
Dr. Church is no joke, y'all. She gets it done like a boss. And looks great in a red dress doing it. I'm really, really happy to be in this room tonight. This, more than any other room, is where I wanted to spend an evening because of what's going to happen in just a little bit of time. Any Star Trek fans in the house, by the way? My people! So I have always believed that there was some child who watched the original episodes of Star Trek and kept seeing William Shatner as Captain Kirk reach back to that secret Velcroed place on his hip because there are no pockets in the future. I know, I've been there. And he would pull out his tricorder, he would call the ship, Scotty, beam me up. That child became, I don't know, grew up, became an engineer, a scientist, devised and designed a product more prevalent on this planet one time than a toaster. Have you ever used or seen someone use a flip cell phone? Right? It's because that which we focus our attention upon is what we tend to manifest in this realm. And the connection that makes that manifestation happen is our imaginations. We are a species of storytellers. We are telling our stories all the time to one another, consciously or unconsciously, but we are born to tell stories. And it is our storytelling and our link to our storytelling lineage that connects us to our imaginations. And it's our imaginations that can devise and design anything we want and have done for generations. The work that's being done by these folks in this room is God's work, y'all. It's God's work. Make no mistake about it, on a grand scale. And so the five, and I want to make sure that you really sort of grok the importance of all five of these finalists tonight. Solve the problem. They got to it. They succeeded. And you're going to hear their stories. Now, enjoy the evening. This is a celebration, and I think no matter what happens on this stage for the next, I don't know, hour or so, I know that children around the world will be the winners.
Thank you, LeVar. It's beautiful. All right, so who are these exceptional teams we've been talking about all evening? Who are the ones that beat out all of the other contenders to make it here tonight, our five finalist teams? Here's how this portion of the evening is going to go. We're going to watch a short video about each team, and then the team will stand, turn and face the audience, and be acknowledged, and then we will hear from the next team. So let's meet our teams.
The name Team CCI is based on our company name, which is Curriculum Concepts International. We've been around for 40 years developing educational solutions for learners across the world. When we think about the importance of this competition, we really think about it in terms of closing that literacy gap that exists for not just the children in Tanzania in a remote village, but ultimately in urban areas of Detroit, Chicago, LA, even New York. So it's not something that is somebody else's problem, and we've always believed that as a company. When we found out about the XPRIZE, we really jumped at the chance to put our experience to work. So we've produced thousands of individual activities that include lessons, books, games. But the challenge for us was that when we really thought about how to create this type of content that's rich, that's flexible, that's interactive, how do you do that on a massive scale? So for us, we said, look, we're actually going to create a set of tools that a non-coder can use. So we created a system called Publi that involves authoring tools that can be used by non-coders to create their own learning content. The platform enables a non-developer to launch similar learning apps without a single line of code. So we have this vision where thousands of teams around the world are going to be collaborating to solve this problem outside of the XPRIZE field test, so that we can essentially embrace an entire community of passionate educators looking to solve this problem without them having a coder on their team. If the Global Learning XPRIZE effort is successful and one of the teams can emerge as the winner, I think we would have achieved something pretty remarkable, because it would suggest that these kids, without a lot of pressure or someone telling them that they had to do it, without someone teaching them how to work the tablet, that they've essentially been successful in teaching themselves with the aid of technology. I think that's where the work really begins.
Team CCI, please stand. Team CCI.
KitKat School means think deeply in Thai language. We are a team of about 30 people, come from the United States, Korea, Indonesia, Thai, Kenya, and Tanzania. I and my husband, my co-founder, both were game developers. When we think about the difference from game to education, game is all about engagement and how to keep this player keep playing for a long amount of time. Sometimes in education software, I see there is a software that too much focus on what to deliver and what is a curriculum rather than how child will feel through this learning experience. So our difference comes from our sharp focus on children's experience. We create gamified learning with a mixture of high-quality graphics, sound, interaction, so child will feel they are doing really fun activity and they don't care is it learning activity or not because it feels so good. If you see KitKat School's first screen, there is 11 eggs waiting for you in literacy and 11 eggs on math. One egg already hatched. If you advance to the next day, this small creature grows. And if user complete the post-test, this small creature has a crown. So the goal will be hatching all those 11 eggs and having the crown per each creature because it looks so cool. If XPRIZE works, it will be the first evidence that technology actually can make significant learning gain for children who couldn't access to quality education. And it will be just the beginning.
Our team's name is Chimple. We are located in Bangalore, India. A lot of people in our team are software developers, but this is the first time we are actually developing for children, especially children who never been exposed to a tablet. Children learn while they are playing. They may not know that they are learning, but their brain is actually working all the time. So what we do in our software is we let the child play. In my mind, what we did unique is giving a ton of games, giving a ton of stories, giving a ton of choices for the kid, because no two kids are alike, right? So we wanted to give something for everybody. So the architecture of the app can actually be thought of as a combination of different mini applications. There is an intelligent agent which chooses which activity to present to the child, and based on the performance of the child on that activity suggests a new one. We had to use gaming engine to actually implement the games. We had to use neural networks to figure out the handwriting recognition, and the Pixel tablet itself, it's a very capable tablet so that it can do the neural network processing. So our hope is we scale it to millions and millions of children all across the world. One organization actually cannot create the content and the software which can be localized to various different parts of the world. So this is actually the most significant facet of the Global Learning XPRIZE, I think, because at the end of the competition, we will have 5 great software through which children can actually learn how to read and write and do basic mathematics. And then anybody from anywhere in the world can actually customize it and then spread it around in their own neighborhood, their own community, and their own country. I think the biggest concept that this competition will prove is that education can be equitably shared amongst all the people of the world.
$1 billion is the name of our non-profit. Our core team is based in the UK and in Kenya.
1 billion has a rather grand ambition. It's kind of in the name, really. We want to see 1 billion children reading with confidence and numerate as well to serve as a foundation for their education. And we believe XPRIZE is going to be a catalyst for this scalable quality education.
Our app is called One Course. We designed One Course to take anywhere from 100 to 200 hours to take a child effectively from zero and make them a confident reader. One Course is made of thousands of learning units. Some could be on reading activities, some could be on numeracy activities. It's a modular course and it's built around the child's day and adapts to their needs. When the child is not yet at a stage where they can read, the story can be played back to the child, a bit like an audiobook. When the child starts to be able to decode words, we can offer them assistance. And then later on, they can attempt to read the story by themselves with a bit of help if necessary.
We've built One Course to be scalable. As I'm speaking to you, there's over 100,000 children around the world using One Course, and we intend for that number to grow and grow and grow because the demand is so great.
The Global Learning XPRIZE was the first time that One Course had been used directly in the community. To date, most of the time it had been used in a school setting where a teacher was able to help the child if they needed it. But in the community setting, you don't really have that kind of support. So we wanted to see if One Course could deliver learning directly in the community, and the XPRIZE field trial was a key test of that.
We've never seen a competition quite like this. It's taken a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds to pull this together. And whoever ends up winning this competition, we want to work with them to make it even better. We believe we've given it our best shot, but time will tell.
Team 1 billion.
The RoboTutor team is very diverse in exactly the right ways. Informally, it's Carnegie Mellon as a center of gravity of an international team. My name is Jack Mostow, and I am very proud and honored to lead the RoboTutor team. I've had over 150 volunteers from Carnegie Mellon, from other universities in the United States, from universities in other countries, RoboTutor builds on decades of research on human learning and instruction. It is powered by automated recognition of writing and automatic recognition of speech. I don't think any of the other finalists use speech recognition to listen to the child read aloud. Imagine a very patient grandparent who is happy to listen with infinite patience to the child read aloud and is capable of pronouncing any word correctly. That's a pretty good model of the reading tutor component of RoboTutor.
Tunda moja kubwa. Anansi alidondokwa na mate.
Why should the average person care? The average person should care if they have a heart, if they care about kids growing up by the hundreds of millions without learning how to read, if they care about kids missing out on all the things that you can do and learn about if you read. There are lots of books with lots of wonderful things to learn about in the course of a lifetime. Living without that is a blighted existence. I think the vision of a technology-enabled world-class education for every child on the planet is inspiring and feasible enough to be worth pursuing. I don't know whether I will live to see that vision, but it would certainly feel great to be able to help get closer to it.
Oh, Tanzania, oh yeah.
Team RoboTutor. Those are our 5 extraordinary finalist teams from the Global Learning XPRIZE. We are so proud and we are so honored to have been able to work with you all over these years. I want to say it's not just us who acknowledge these 5 finalists. We have a special recognition from Congressmember Karen Bass, who serves on the House Committee of Foreign Affairs. She's the chair of the Subcommittee on Africa, Global Health, and Global Human Rights and International Organizations. She had to be in DC tonight, was very sorry to have to miss you to vote, but has created a congressional certificate for each team. You're being granted a congressional certificate. So a member from her staff is here tonight, and we'll present that with you after the awards show. So congratulations to all of you. And thank you to Representative Bass. She's also my congresswoman and represents XPRIZE. All right, please welcome back to the stage Peter Diamandis and Anusha Ansari.
So while we wait for Peter to join me back on stage, let me reiterate how proud we are of all the team members who have joined us today, have been through this journey with us. You are all winners in our eyes. You are our heroes. We celebrate you. And this entire team here at XPRIZE, watching this event live, we are all here to make sure that we support you and make sure that all the children, millions of children out there, can benefit from your solutions. And we want to get this in the hands of everyone. So Peter, are you ready? I know we're going to be announcing the results soon, and it's been such a tough decision for our judges because, you know, everyone did so well.
And so much at stake and so much work. This is probably the most complicated XPRIZE that we've ever executed at scale and across another continent. I mentioned earlier that we're so proud of the leverage we get from our donors. $15 million competition drove $300 million of expenditures by all 198 teams. I think the estimate that you guys came up with was $200 million by just the 5 finalists here. So thank you. That is an extraordinary amount of energy and effort and capital brought to bear, the results of which hopefully are going to drive billions of dollars of value in terms of increased intelligence by people and capabilities in these nations. This doesn't happen without three components. The teams, for sure. The original idea and the prize rules that are created by our amazing XPRIZE staff here, and our benefactors, which are willing to put up the capital. I mentioned that our XPRIZE here was funded by Elon as a result of an email I sent out to our benefactors. Let me take a second to introduce our primary benefactor tonight. I first met Elon back in 2001. He had just sold PayPal to eBay. He netted about $180 million, which he then went on to spend all of, and then some, on SpaceX and Tesla and Solar City. And I remember I was with him. We had a mutual friend, Adeo Resi. I was with Elon in Florianopolis in Brazil, and we were walking and talking about the space business. And this is before the Ansari family had come up with the capital. And so I was trying to talk Elon out of building rockets and saying, this rocket stuff is really hard. They blow up. You should not go into the rocket business. Instead, we should make it the Musk XPRIZE for spaceflight. I'm so happy that he didn't listen to me.
Me too, me too.
Please welcome what is ultimately the most incredible, most successful entrepreneur of our age, of this century. Please welcome to the stage, Elon Musk. So, pal, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And all the XPRIZE people and teams that made this happen. Just provided some money, but it was really very impressive work. Yeah.
I remember you were with us in the earliest days of the Ansari XPRIZE. You were one of our early donors back then, and then came out to Mojave to see the Spaceship One launch. And,
yeah, that was quite a day.
That was fun. You've done.
I can't believe that worked, actually.
Yeah. It did. Whoa. It did. And I was just saying, I was so happy I did not talk you out of building rockets.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I would walk in Florianopolis back then.
Yeah, you said like this is crazy. I was like that joke of like the way to make a small fortune in the rocket business is to start with a large one. I was like heard that joke so many times. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, like a mutual friend, Adeo, compiled like a montage of rocket failures, and made me watch it. I'm like, okay.
Well, you're stepping up, and obviously you were born in South Africa, and I think the importance of literacy has been critical. And so we have these 5 amazing teams here that your capital helped us create, and with success, we're going to go from Swahili to 30 languages and then 100 languages around the world, and really help scale education at a level that can't be done with flesh and blood or bricks and mortar.
Yeah.
So, are you ready to unveil the winner?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Dr. Church, do you have the envelope, please?
Do.
And so.
So it's the right envelope.
By the way, have we? You know, you and I were talking backstage. Have we announced the fact yet that there is?
We have not.
We have not. So do you want to let us know that, in fact, the judging results are that we have a tie? And there are 2 winners.
Great. Congratulations. Double congratulations.
Yeah. The first winner, my friend.
Team Kit Kat. So, Team
Team Kit School, we can have two of your representatives come on up and receive the trophy from our benefactor. Welcome. Congratulations. All right, why don't we hand off a trophy, ladies first, and we'll sit over here, and we'll take a quick photo all together. Awesome, thanks. If you guys would go stand over here, please. Please go stand over there with Patrick. So double the winners, double the fun.
Cool.
I was thinking in honor of the Starlink launch tonight, we should have 60 winners, but. All right, our second envelope, Elon.
Okay. Team 1 billion.
Team 1 billion. All right, Team 1 billion, come on up. Two of your representatives, please. Andrew, congratulations. All right, let's, if you guys want to stand one on either side of Elon and grab the trophy, this is yours to celebrate. Let's get all together here. All right. All right, so let's actually bring our team Kit up as well. We'll take a photo all together. Elon, can we get you in the middle here? Here. If you guys make some space here, Elon, you stand right here. That's good. Awesome. All right. So Elon, I know you've got a launch in literally minutes.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Listen, again, thank you for your generosity. Thank you for supporting this. Thank you to the amazing teams for all you put into this.
Great work. It's very exciting.
All right. Hi, pal.
All right. Good to see you.
See you soon.
All right. Bye.
Anusha or Emily, are you going to?
Our CEO.
This is it, folks. The journey is just starting. So you heard us. We have all these amazing 5 teams that need our support, our help, your pledges, your resources, your connections. So if you have ways, ideas that you can help make sure this software gets in the hands of those children who need it, we have a table out there. You can tell them how you want to help us and be part of this journey with us.
Let me add, we're going to bring these teams back to Visioneering to tell their stories. I think one of the things I love is launching the competition and awarding it. At Visioneering last year, we had our Water Abundance XPRIZE being awarded, another Hirschberg design.
They're here tonight.
Our
winners from
awesome.
Water Abundance. Yeah.
To the teams that didn't win, thank you for all of your hard work. And to be clear, just because you didn't win the capital here is zero reason not to continue your journey on changing the world. So we're just beginning. We're heading towards a world in which every single man, woman, and child on the planet has access to literacy. In a world connected by 5G and Starlink and all those systems, it's an extraordinary world. I think a world that's more literate is a world that's more peaceful and more productive, and a world that I want my children to grow up in. Thank you all. All right.